Hello, welcome to SquishiVision. I've just finished watching part 7 of Ahsoka, Dreams and Madness. Very much a delivery on the promised setup regarding reunion of Ahsoka Sabine with Ezra and the initial kind of combat from Thrawn. Lots of like cool things. Ahsoka training to holograms of Clone Wars era Anakin, so we get a bit more of Clone Wars era Anakin played by Hayden Christensen. I like to think that Ahsoka's not watched these through, at least since she learned that Anakin was at least since she learned that Anakin was Darth Vader, she's not been able to force and up until her encounter with Anakin in War Between Worlds, during that entire like time, she's not been able to watch these back again. She maybe hasn't even watched them at all because of when she was kind of doing what she was doing before she met the rebels. And maybe the idea that Anakin was dead was too painful for her. So, I have a feeling that this is like the first time in a while she's watched all these through again. Kind of adds a bit more kind of pathos to it. But that was kind of a nice scene of her being able to train again and prepare herself to fight Balin again. I feel really bad for the whales. I'm glad they survived though. Like I would have been very, very sad if they died. I would expect them to like die, at least some of them, but I'm glad that they had the intelligence to flee. That was kind of nice. And then, I mean, I wasn't that engaged with the whole Starfighter scene bit. That was much just filler to get like a delay Ahsoka's return. Meanwhile, you've got Ezra and Sabine kind of catching up, and it's nice, pretty decent. Clearly, like there's a like degree of like kind of tension because Ahsoka Sabine doesn't want to be fully open with Ezra about what's happened. But I think they're just happy to kind of be in a reunion state. And then Thrawn kind of strategizing. I like a bit when Thrawn realizes that Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan. He's like, oh well, she's gonna be like entirely predictable and unpredictable. We're not gonna be able to kind of figure out what she's gonna do, so we just need to be fully on like contingency plan mode. Try and like force her hand as much as we can rather than give her time to kind of go Anakin level of crazy. But it's nice to have a villain who doesn't have an ego. It's what was really good about Thrawn in Rebels, where he's fully kind of, he's fully aware that he's outmatched in some areas, and so he's very pragmatic about things. But I think the one time he did fail was kind of when he let his ego, get ahead of himself. So he's a bit matured now in that sense. So. I did very much kind of enjoy that bit of him going to be like all the intel and be like, oh well, this is who I'm dealing with now. And he's pretty much accepted that Ahsoka was gonna win her goal, but he knew that her goal was to go reunite with Sabine and Ezra, so that gave him his space to kind of together. So he's being very pragmatic. He's almost ready to leave, and they want to just complete their goal of finding Ezra, so like he says, time's not on their side anymore. So I did like that kind of maneuvering there. Lars Mikkelsen is doing a really good job. I've seen people, there's probably the whole thing about how he looks, and it's all, well, obviously I think when you see him in motion he looks very much like Thrawn. For some reason snaps of him still are a bit off, but I think once more we get used to seeing him in that action, it's gonna like decapitate. Ezra didn't take his lightsaber, and as much as I was kind of wishing that he would, somehow I knew, just because of the obvious path of how this was going to be written, that they were never going to have him do at least straight away. So he just basically goes and uses the Force to knock a bunch of stormtroopers out, shoot a bunch of them, go full monk on them, until Ahsoka has a big damn hero moment of riding in, Force pushing a whole bunch of them, and sliding into the scene. And then the phone's like, well, okay. Okay, so this is like the end of this campaign bit. That was so good. I like that Ahsoka basically just no-sells her combat with Shin. She doesn't even need to draw a lightsaber. Like Shin is so like beneath her combat level that she's just able to like unarmed take her on, and then she offers her kind of the mercy thing of surrendering and that they can be helped. Obviously she flees to fight another day. So that's how that kind of goes. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there was a and we had a brilliant part of the beginning where a cameo from C3PO, where once again Senator Organa kind of saves the day and bails out Syndulla, which is obviously is so good to kind of have Leia still save the day and look out for them all, even though she's obviously, Carrie Fisher's no longer with us. So that was a lovely kind of touch, a little tribute. I feel they're gonna kind of try and do these like a lot, have the situation where we hear about her in the background during her bit. The fight for the rebellion, even though we don't see her. I think that's kind of a nice to contribute to all that. I'm just trying to think what else, reaction wise. I mean, I'm definitely interested to see where it ends. I can't call it. I think there's several parts next week. We can end it. It could be a cliffhanger that leads straight into the Empire film or whatever Filoni's film is going to be. There's going to be like a Force victory scenario when there's a cliffhanger. Might end with them getting back because you're so short. It could basically end anywhere, like putting a whole amount of filler in it, and it could go either way. So I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think there's not much to say this episode really. I think it kind of ended where you expect it to end. Rather, this episode kind of went the way I expected it to go in terms of the whole kind of like reunion bit. I like that. I saw a meme actually about Ezra kind of being told that they eventually did build the Death Star and it got destroyed. Him being like, oh yeah, Thrawn was always talking about how the Death Star was like a waste of... Oh no! The meme was Thrawn learning what happened to Death Star, being like, yeah, I told him it was a waste of money, and then he's like, wait, they built a second one? Actually, interesting, because we do see Ezra's reaction, albeit briefly, of Sabine having caught him up on the Empire, having fallen, the Battle of Endor. Obviously, not much details, but we don't know really what Sabine was doing during most of the war. And where Zeb is and where Hera is. But we haven't seen Thrawn's reaction of what's happened in the Empire, and I'm feel like by now he must have been told, so perhaps we won't see that. But I am kind of very curious to kind of see what. I mean, maybe from was like, well, of course it's collapsed kind of thing. I mean, he, from what I can gather, I've not really read much of Timothy Zahn's novels on it. But Thrawn was part of the Empire mainly for his own kind of like ambition. He's one of them officers who doesn't really care much about the Emperor's cause. The fact that the Empire fell isn't kind of massively concerning to him. Is it Lily? No. Oh, I'm sorry. But it would be nice to have seen that bit, I think. But again, it's not really the priority. Show still looks really, really good. Like, it's one of the best looking Star Wars shows, I think. And like, the lightsaber combat's pretty, like, it's not like sequel trilogy level of like choreography, but it's still pretty decent. I think it's a bit different. I think it's a bit more medieval kind of fighting style, like more deliberate, more there to kind of convey a feeling rather than flashiness, which I think is fine. So I do like that. I do like Balin's kind of fighting style, but maybe because I've recently taken up long swords, so I'm kind of recognizing a lot of the kind of swings and the heaviness and deliberateness towards it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this episode of Ahsoka. Pretty brief, I think, actually. Never that much to say on it. And then hopefully next week I'll be able to watch it or broadcast on the day and reflect on where we're going a bit more after that. Anyway, I have got to look for some stuff and maybe have a quick nap. I'm tired, wash up. For work. So I'm going to leave you all. Have a nice day and I will catch you later. I need to click the credits on the thing, but Lily is sitting in front of my stream deck, so I can't press the button. Right, bye.